This is the Whynter ARC-148MHP. I've had this for a bit now, and a few people asked me about it, so here's my take. It's a portable unit that sits on the floor and handles cooling in the summer, heating when it's chilly. Plus, it can pull moisture out of the air and work like a basic fan. I've been using it in a medium-sized bedroom and also in a living room area. That's roughly the size most people mean when they say one big room. If you're in a place where you can't install a window unit, or you just need something you can roll between rooms, this is the kind of product you're looking at. If you already have central air that works well everywhere, this is more of a backup or a problem solver for hotspots. What makes this one stand out in real life is that it's not the typical lightweight portable AC experience. It's a big, heavy box, and it behaves like one. Mine lives against a window most days, and I roll it out when I'm cleaning or when I want it in the next room. It's around 73 pounds, which sounds like a number you can ignore until you actually have to get it out of the box or maneuver it around furniture. On hard floors, it rolls fine. On thicker carpet, I have to muscle it a bit, and I'm careful not to yank the hoses around when I move it. Build-wise, it feels solid. The plastic doesn't creak much when I push on it, and the handles on the sides are actually useful. The top control panel is easy enough to understand without reading a manual, and the display is readable from across the room. I keep it dim at night because any bright display bugs me when I'm trying to sleep, and this one hasn't been a problem in that way. Setup is the part that decides whether you'll like owning a portable AC at all, and this one is no exception. You're dealing with a window kit and hoses. Once I had the window panel fitted correctly, day-to-day use got simple. The biggest practical tip I can give is to keep the hose run as short and straight as your room allows. When I got lazy and let the hose bend too much, the unit felt less effective, and the hose itself got warmer, which is basically wasted effort. I also spent time sealing little gaps around the window panel. That didn't feel optional. Without sealing, I could feel warm air sneaking in, and the unit had to work harder to keep up. In daily use, I mostly switch between cooling and dehumidifying depending on the weather. On humid days, the dehumidifying mode is what makes the room feel comfortable, even if I don't drop the temperature a ton. That sticky feeling goes away. I noticed it most at night. I could set a more reasonable temperature and still sleep comfortably because the air didn't feel damp. The unit claims it can remove a lot of moisture per day, and I don't measure pints at home, but I can tell you I've used it during muggy stretches where other AC units I've owned would leave the room feeling clammy. This one does a better job drying the space out. Cooling performance has been consistent for me in rooms that fit what people usually mean by up to about 500 square feet, but I want to be precise about expectations. In a bedroom with the door closed, it can bring the temperature down and hold it there. In a larger living room where people are walking in and out, sunlight is coming through windows, and there's airflow from hallways, it still helps a lot, but it feels more like it's creating a comfortable zone rather than completely changing the whole floor's temperature. When I point the vent toward where I'm actually sitting, I feel it faster. If I expect it to evenly cool every corner without any help from fans or good airflow, that's not been realistic. Noise is always part of the portable AC deal. On low fan, I can sleep with it, but I'm aware it's there. The compressor cycling on has a noticeable change in sound, and if you're a light sleeper, you'll probably notice that kick when it turns on. During the day, it blends into the background for me, especially with the TV on. On work calls, I'll often drop the fan speed if I'm using my laptop mic nearby. The unit is rated around the low 50s dBA on low speed, and that tracks with what I experience. Not quiet like a wall mini-split, but not obnoxious if you place it sensibly. Heating surprised me a little, mostly in how it feels. It's not the same as a space heater blasting hot air. It's more like a steady, warm airflow that gradually brings the room up. I used it on cold mornings when I didn't want to heat the whole house yet, and it did the job in a bedroom and office type of space. I wouldn't rely on it as the only heat source for a whole home, and I found it's happiest when it's not fighting extreme cold. For mild winter days and shoulder seasons, it's been genuinely useful. One feature I care about is how it handles water. With portable ACs, I've dealt with units that force you to babysit a bucket or manually drain more often than you want. With this one, in my usual conditions, it mostly manages condensate without me thinking about it. That said, I don't treat it like magic. I still check it, and if I'm running it hard in humid weather, I pay attention to whether I need a drain setup. When I stored it after a stretch of heavy use, I made sure to drain it properly. because any leftover water can lead to a musty smell later. I've learned that lesson with other units, and I'm not interested in repeating it. The filters are straightforward. There's a washable pre-filter that catches dust and pet hair, and I actually do notice a difference when it's dirty. Airflow drops a bit, and the unit sounds like it's working harder. I rinse it and let it fully dry before putting it back. There's also an activated carbon filter included, and I keep it installed because my place picks up cooking smells sometimes. I'm not going to pretend it turns my room into a lab-clean environment, but it does help a little with lingering odors. Power draw is something people forget until a breaker trips. This unit can pull enough power that I avoid running it on the same circuit as a bunch of other stuff. In one room, I had it going with a PC and a couple other devices, and I did trip the breaker once. After that, I moved it to an outlet I knew was on a less loaded circuit, and it's been fine. If you live in an older home with limited circuits, that's worth thinking about before you assume you can plug it in anywhere. Controls are simple. The panel works, and the remote works as long as I'm not trying to bounce signals off walls. The remote has been slightly picky about line of sight in my space. I've also had moments where I changed something on the remote and then ended up walking over to confirm the setting on the unit because I didn't totally trust that it took the command. Not a huge deal, just part of living with it. One thing I want to address because people ask about it a lot: smart features and mobile app support. This unit isn't something I've used with a phone app. My day-to-day is walking up to it or using the remote. If you're someone who wants schedules, app control, and integrations, this isn't the type of experience you should expect here. For me, that's fine. I care more about whether it holds temperature and humidity where I want them. So after living with it, the strengths are pretty clear. It cools effectively in the kinds of rooms people actually use portable units for. It removes humidity in a way you can feel, and it can provide real supplemental heat when you need it. It feels well built compared to some cheaper portable units I've owned. And the window kit and hoses don't feel like they'll crack the first time you look at them wrong. The limitations are also real. It's heavy, it takes up floor space, it's still a portable AC, so you're dealing with hoses and a window panel. And it makes enough noise that you'll want to think about placement if it's going in a bedroom. It also asks for a bit of respect on power usage, especially if your room circuit is already busy. Overall, I see the Whynter ARC-148MHP as a practical solution for someone who needs real cooling and dehumidifying in a room where central air isn't cutting it, or where you can't do a permanent install. If you're okay with the size, the setup, and the normal sounds that come with this category, it's been a dependable unit for me. I will leave detailed information about the Whynter ARC-148MHP in the comments for your reference. Thank you for watching.